Hi everyone, welcome to Meemz and Tingz. It's your girl Meemz. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am so sorry that it's taken so long for me to make another video. I know I've ghosted you guys for like a few months. I really don't have a really good reason as to why I've been gone for so long. I just hate editing. Okay, so in this video, I wanted to do a get ready with me for medical school interviews because I know it's interview season. I'm basically going to like do my makeup on camera, which I've never done before, so like just literally bear with me. I'm not a MUA. I don't know much about describing techniques or anything fancy. I'm literally just gonna do my makeup how I did it on the interview day. While I'm doing it, I am going to kind of do a Q&A. So instead of breaking down products and techniques, I'm literally just going to tell you guys what I experienced on my interview days. I think it's going to be really helpful because, you know, I wish I would have seen a video before my medical school interviews. And so yeah, just to assure you guys of my credibility, I have great news. So the last video I made regarding medical school, I told you guys I was struggling and like I had applied to so many schools and have gotten like few interviews and had no acceptances, and that was like back in February or May. And so the good news is I got into medical school. Woo, turn up. Yeah, so I got into med school. Super good news. And so at the end of this video, keep watching to the very end and I will do like a med school reveal and let you guys know where I'm going. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so I usually start with eyebrows. First question, which interview question did you hear the most? So basically the interview question that you definitely like, I would say like 97% are going to hear is, why do you want to be a doctor? And I know that question seems like it's simple, but it's actually very hard because you have to think like, oh my goodness, like I've been preparing to be a doctor for so long. I've been preparing to get into medical school, like, but do I have like a concrete reason as to why I want to be a doctor? And so yeah, my advice for that question would be like, just make a list of reasons. I think that's what I did. I like made a list of reasons, or I kind of read back over my personal statement and kind of tried to figure out what's the overall like message I'm trying to get across, like, and then make it concise. I think what would probably kind of agitate interviewers is that like some people get started and they just keep rambling like, oh, I'm gonna be a doctor because of this, like my parents were a doctor and then I went to this like medical mission trip and then like my classes are so interesting. Make it thorough and comprehensive and get your point across, but please do it in a concise way because a lot of these interviewers have like 30 minutes max. So yeah, I would say that that is the most common question I came across in all 5 of my interviews. Alright, the next question is, which interview question made you think the most? Okay, so I would say on my first interview, the question that one of my interviewers asked was, she was like, alright Meemz, if you say you don't get into medical school this year, what are you going to do? Like if you don't get into med school, it just didn't work out for this year, what do you have planned? Like what are your next steps? And like when she asked me that question, I was so frazzled. I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, what am I gonna do? This is what I want to do. Why would I prepare for something as horrible as that? You know what I'm saying? Then, you know, I just had to sit down and think on my feet because, you know, that's what interviews are all about. I just had like a casual conversation with her and I was like, you know what? I am a non-traditional student, so I've already waited a couple of years before, you know, like getting to med school straight out of undergrad. I've been doing things that help with my development as a student, as a future professional, such as working, saving money. I got my master's degree. I did a lot of traveling. I've done things to help develop myself, and so I know what it's like to be out of school for a couple of years. And I think being out of school for one more year would not be detrimental to like my self-worth as a future doctor. So I told her that, of course, I wouldn't give up on my passion to become a medical doctor. I think if I don't get in this application cycle, God forbid, there's probably something more that I need, some type of growth that I need before I can actually get into medical school, and I would take that time and take full advantage of it. She understood why the question was so difficult, because she was like, you know what, I was a PhD student, and you know, someone asked me that and I didn't know what to say either because I'm such a planner. She said it's a very good question because students need to be prepared the possibility of things, you know, not going as expected. I cannot do this like talking and making me like, holy crap. How do people talk and do makeup at the same time? But yeah, anyways, that was the question that made me think the most. And actually, funny enough, I heard it in my next interview, or like a couple interviews down. Someone asked me the exact same question, and because I took time to like stop and like think well through the first interview, I had like a really good answer for the next time it came up. The person who asked me the second time was like, wow, that was a really good answer. That's probably the best answer I've heard to that question. And I was like, duh! Okay, so now that I have my eyebrows done, I'm going to use my foundation. So I use NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop in color Warm Walnut. I don't know if you care if that matters, but yeah, that's what it is.
Purchase your tracks today.
My next question says, which interview question made you the most nervous? In one of my interviews towards like one of my later interviews, I think it was like one of the first or second questions, and she was like, all right, so MCAT score and GPA. And like, I only went to 5 interviews, so I don't know if this is a question that's common, but that was the first time I ever got that, and I was just like, I just felt like it was a trap, honestly. And so yeah, so that question made me very, very nervous. I don't know if you should prepare to answer that question. I honestly feel like personally it's in my application, so like I feel like interviewers should check that before I walk in, right? I just feel like that question was just meant to like give me anxiety. Like I just didn't like it, so it made me really, really nervous. All right, so my next step in the makeup process, I'm just using this Makeup Revolution whatever foundation because I feel that it was just like concealer, or you get more product, just like it's cost efficient. Your girl's looking cute. I'm just gonna do a little bit of powder.
Purchase your tracks today.
All right, so our next question is, which interview question would you consider the hardest? So the hardest interview question that I got, I don't think he was intentionally trying to ask me this question, but the conversation we had, like he asked me about my experience in London. We were talking about that, we were talking about my master's, and my master's was in global public health and nutrition, and so the conversation just naturally drifted towards healthcare systems. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not as like well versed in politics and like systems and stuff. He kind of asked me what my thoughts were on like the differences between the UK system and Obamacare. And so in my mind, he's like asking me about Obamacare, and I'm just like, I don't know if any of you guys have tried to read Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, but it's just so complex. And so I think I tried to like read some of it, and I was just like, oh yeah, hey man, this is just not gonna work. Needless to say, I stumbled over answering that question. It was not pretty. All right, so this is my foundation base. This is the basics. From this point on, I determine on whether I go full glam or cash glam. Full beat or slight beat. Medical school for sure, like interviews. I want to look good, but I don't want to be like doing too much. And so I will be doing slight beat. Next is my eyeliner. Alright guys, like I said, I'm not a professional, okay? Alright, there it goes, folks. Oh my god. So bad. Yeah, that's just how it has to go for today. Alright, so my final question is, what questions did you prepare to ask the interviewer? Okay, so at the very end of each of your interviews, your interviewer should be like, okay, well, that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me? This is where it kind of gives you the opportunity to like show the interviewer what you value most in a medical school, what factor is most important to you when choosing med schools. So I think this is a really cool opportunity to like kind of impress your interviewer with what you know about the school, what you think about programs outside of the school, research, whatever. I came prepared with at least 2 questions. I would say prepare at least 2 to 4 questions. So for me, one of my questions always has to do with diversity. And so I would say something like, you know, as a Cameroonian American, I think it's very important to feel comfortable among your students, like among the culture of your classmates. Do you guys have any sort of institutions in place to make those who are from different cultures feel comfortable? Something like that. Usually that would make like the interviewer stop and think like, oh, like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe yeah. So I always would go with that one. Another question I would ask is about like me being a non-traditional student. I would ask if they had resources in place to kind of support students academically. You know, if a student were to kind of struggle at the very beginning, is there some type of net that could catch students and you know, kind of help them succeed? Most interviewers have a pretty great answer for that because most schools have institutions in place that will support students so that they're not failing, because I think it looks really bad on medical school if you know you're not retaining students. So definitely tailor your questions to you and like what you value, what you care about, what your background is. Have that ready because it looks really, really good in an interview to come and be actively trying to choose the best school for you. And I think that's what is essentially portrayed by you asking good questions. And so yeah, all right, so let's wrap up this makeup thing, okay? To finish up, do a bit of mascara, a bit of highlighter, just a little bit of blush. All right. Oh, look how cute that is. All right. So now that I have taken off my headscarf that was laying my edges and put on my infamous eggplant suit, my look is complete. So yeah, thanks for getting ready with me, guys. So now it is time for my medical school review. Just to remind you guys, I applied to 20 medical schools back in May of 2018. I got invited to 5 interviews between October and March, and I got into a total of 2 medical schools. My last video was about like the waitlist process, and so can you imagine like how anxious I was to know that I was on 5 waitlists and I hadn't heard back from any of them. But lo and behold, I still had faith. I kept the faith. I trusted God, and I got into 2 schools. And so the school that I chose to attend is Louisiana State University Health Science Center School of Medicine of New Orleans. Your girl is going to be in New Orleans. I'm a New Orleans girl now. I'll be there for 4 years. And I'm just so happy and so blessed to be able to attend this school. Like, I chose the school for so many reasons. I just felt like it was perfect for me. And yeah, so that's where I'm going, and I'm so happy, and I'm so glad everything worked out. I'm gonna be a doctor in 4 years, so that's exciting as well. Keep up with me. I'm gonna try to update you guys with my journey as much as I can, even though I hate editing. I know I'm gonna get the hang of it one of these days, and so just keep a lookout. I think I'm gonna be doing making a lot of big moves. I'm gonna try to keep you guys aware of everything that's going on in my life as it pertains to medicine and travel, of course. That's all, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, share this video with your friends who probably would like some helpful tips before they go into their interview. I got you covered. Yeah, I think that's it.